For many years, Andrew Carter had served as the chief steward of a large and respected estate. The estate belonged to a wealthy but disciplined man named Mr. Benjamin Wright, who believed that responsibility was the true test of a person's character. Andrew was known for his honesty and strict discipline. He managed the household finances, supervised the workers, and ensured that every task in the estate ran smoothly. People trusted him deeply. Workers often said, "If Andrew says something is right, then it must be right." Andrew took pride in that reputation. He believed that a person's character was like a glass cup. Once it cracked, it could never be fully repaired. So he guarded his integrity carefully, or at least he thought he did. One afternoon, Andrew was organizing the estate accounts in the office. While reviewing the records, he noticed something troubling. Several workers had made mistakes in their duties, and correcting those mistakes would require extra payments and repairs. Andrew knew that if he reported everything honestly, it would reflect badly on his management. For a moment, a thought appeared in his mind. Perhaps I could adjust the numbers slightly, just enough to hide the mistake. He hesitated. Andrew had never falsified records before, but the thought stayed. "It is only a small adjustment," he whispered to himself. "No one will suffer from it." Slowly, he changed a few numbers in the ledger. Just a few. But those few numbers were a lie, and deep inside, Andrew knew it. 2 days later, the estate owner, Mr. Benjamin Wright, discovered the inconsistency. He called Andrew into his study. Andrew stood silently before the large wooden desk. Mr. Wright looked at him calmly. "Andrew," he said quietly, "you have served this estate faithfully for many years, but today I discovered something troubling." Andrew's heart began to pound. "The ledger does not tell the truth," Mr. Wright continued. Andrew lowered his eyes. He knew he could not deny it. "I made a mistake," he admitted. Mr. Wright studied him carefully. "You did more than make a mistake," he said. "You chose dishonesty." The room fell silent. Andrew felt deep shame. But Mr. Wright was not an angry man. He believed discipline should teach, not destroy. After a moment, he said, "You will face a punishment, but you may choose it yourself." Andrew looked up, surprised. Mr. Wright wrote 4 disciplinary actions on a piece of paper and handed it to Andrew. "Choose one," he said. Andrew read them slowly. "First punishment. You will work in silence for 3 days, speaking to no one except when necessary. Second punishment. You will fast for 24 hours, eating no food until tomorrow evening. Third punishment. You will spend the night alone in the estate storehouse, reflecting on your actions. Fourth punishment. You will publicly admit your mistake before the workers tomorrow morning." Andrew studied the options carefully. None of them were easy, but some seemed harder than others. Finally, he pointed to the third option. "I will spend the night alone in the storehouse," he said. Mr. Wright nodded. "Very well," he replied. "You will enter the storehouse tonight and remain there until sunrise." That evening, Andrew entered the quiet storehouse. The room was large and dimly lit. Shelves filled with food supplies surrounded him. There were sacks of flour, baskets of fruit, and boxes of dried meats. Andrew sat on a wooden chair and sighed. "This will be a long night," he murmured. At first, he tried to reflect on his mistake. He thought about honesty, about responsibility, about the trust he had broken. Hours passed. The night grew deeper, and slowly, Andrew began to feel hungry. Andrew's eyes wandered to a nearby shelf. A basket of fresh apples rested there. His stomach growled. Immediately, he shook his head. "No," he said firmly. "This is my punishment." But the mind is powerful, and it rarely stays quiet. Soon a thought appeared. One apple is not breaking the punishment. The punishment was to stay in the storehouse, not to starve. Andrew tried to ignore the thought, but the thought returned. Just one apple. After several minutes of struggle, Andrew stood up. He walked slowly to the basket. "Just this once," he whispered. He picked up an apple and took a bite. The sweet taste filled his mouth. For a moment he felt relief, but that moment was dangerous. After finishing the apple, Andrew sat down again. But something had changed. His mind spoke again. "Well, you have already broken the rule of discipline. One more apple will not matter." Andrew hesitated. Then he took another apple. Soon he began exploring the shelves. He tasted bread. He sampled dried meat. He even opened a bottle of juice. Each time he told himself the same lie. Just this once. But the night was not finished testing him. While eating, Andrew began to feel lonely. The silence of the storehouse was heavy. Again his mind spoke. "Why sit here alone? You could speak to one of the night guards." "Just for a moment," he said. He opened the door and called the guard. They talked casually for a while. Andrew laughed. He shared stories. The quiet reflection he was supposed to practice had completely disappeared. Without realizing it, Andrew had now broken another punishment rule. Hours later, Andrew felt tired. The storehouse had a comfortable pile of blankets in the corner. His mind whispered again, "You have already eaten. You have already spoken. Why not rest a little?" Andrew looked at the blankets. "They are here anyway," he said. "Just a short rest." He lay down. Within minutes, he fell into a deep sleep. The punishment of reflection had completely vanished. Sunlight poured into the storehouse windows. Andrew woke suddenly. For a moment, he did not remember where he was. Then the truth returned. He had eaten the food. He had spoken to the guard. He had slept through the night. He had completely ignored the purpose of the punishment. And now he realized something terrible. Because of one small decision, he had broken every rule connected to the punishment. Later that morning, Andrew stood again before Mr. Wright. The estate owner looked at him quietly. "Well, Andrew," he said, "how was your night of reflection?" Andrew lowered his head. "I failed," he admitted. Mr. Wright raised an eyebrow. "Tell me everything." Andrew confessed the entire story. The apple, the conversation, the sleep, the excuses. When he finished, the room was silent. Mr. Wright finally spoke. "You see now," he said calmly, "how powerful the mind can be." Andrew nodded slowly. "It started with just one apple," he said. Mr. Wright leaned forward. "No," he replied. "It started with the thought, just this once." Mr. Wright stood up and walked toward the window. "Andrew," he said, "most great failures do not begin with great crimes. They begin with small compromises." Andrew listened carefully. "A dishonest man is not created in one day," Mr. Wright continued. "He is created when he allows one small lie, then another and another." Andrew felt the truth of those words deeply. His mistake had not been the apple. His mistake had been believing the lie that one small decision does not matter. The greatest enemy in life is not outside us. It is the voice inside our mind that justifies wrong decisions. Many people fall not because they plan to do wrong, but because they allowed one small compromise. One small compromise becomes two. Two become three. And before long, a person finds themselves far from the values they once protected. True strength is not simply avoiding great crimes. True strength is refusing the small voice that says, "Just this once." Because the moment you conquer that voice, You conquer the most powerful enemy of all, the mind without discipline.